All right, in this video, we're going into the belly of the beast. We're going down in the Lazarette. All right, I had no idea what a Lazarette was until we got time out. And I was interested in sailing, but again, no idea about a Lazarette. So what exactly is the Lazarette? So on our boat, the Lazarette is kind of from the transom to roughly where the T is on timeout. It's this section of the boat, which is separated from the rest of the inside of the boat. And it's an area that would primarily be used for storage, okay? So what we're doing is we're gonna go spiffy up and make the Lazarette looking good. So the previous owner of the boat basically made the Lazarette his giant trash can, which is no good. I mean, if you look back at our previous video, when we first got the boat, the whole cleaning it out, I mean, there was soda cans and garbage. I mean, it was really, really gross. So we're gonna get in here and we're gonna make this into a functional, useful space. All right, so here's the inside of our Lazarette. So what we're gonna be working on, we got a couple things we're gonna do in here. First off, that board that is the backing plate for the ladder is pretty much shot. So we're gonna remove the bolts and everything and we're gonna get that out of here. So that's out, gone. We're gonna do a brand new one of these, but we're gonna extend it over so we can block this little hole here because we're gonna be filling it in from the outside. I also want it to be quite a bit thicker, and that way it's gonna allow us to do some lines and storage hanging on it. So we're gonna make this larger, we're gonna make it thicker, and we are going to soak it in a resin so that it is more of a watertight thing so this doesn't happen quickly. We need to clean up this wiring situation. That's all going to mostly be redone. So I'm just going to move it out of the way for now. Down here is where we're going to be installing a through hole fitting because we're going to be running a depth transducer, if not some other transducers. So we got to do a through hole down there. We are also going to be mounting our fuel tank down here. So I'm going to make some mounts so we can strap the fuel tank to it so it's easily removed. We're going to be putting a 12-gallon fuel tank in here. And the reason we want to do that is because we want to be able to extend our range when needed. Now, I'd also like to do some hanging stuff over here as well. We need to figure out a way to store our fenders in here. We're going to be storing our dock lines in here and probably some other stuff. So I really want to make this a very usable space. And the only thing I really want back here that's gonna have any significant weight will be the fuel tank, because I don't want to add a bunch of extra weight to the rear of the boat and throw off the balance. All right, so we got our test fit of our transom board, and I'm really happy with the way it looks. It fills in perfectly. I am going to resin soak this, possibly paint it. We'll see what it looks like once it's sanded and resin coated. I might just leave the bare wood because it might look cool. And now what we have is we have spots across the top here where I've got 3/4 inch, you know, of thickness of wood that I can screw in some like line hangers or different things, or hooks that I can hang stuff on to create more efficiency in the Lazarette. This is also going to give me a backing for some holes I need to fill with gel coat on the other side. And then I will have to drill a couple holes to allow for the pop rivets to come through, as I had to take off the hole ID to be able to do so. It's just a little brass or metal plaque. So we're going to clean that plaque up, re-pop rivet it on after we get the hole all finished up and looking nice. But we're coming along pretty good. Okay, so while we are getting our Lazarette all spiffied up, one of the things we're going to do while we're working on this is we're going to install a new mast support arm, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to show you what was in there. It's a little bit crusty and kind of not looking very good. So we've got some new parts here from Blue Water Yachts to take care of that. So this is what actually came with the boat. This sits actually down inside the boat. It actually is in the cockpit. It actually takes the whole mast and puts a little offset, which I don't really want. I'd like to have the mast going right down the center of the boat when it's not being used. It also only brings it up so high. So the original one that came with the boat from McGregor was actually made out of wood. I could remake one out of wood. This thing's actually not horrible, but it's just really heavy. It's bulky, and the bottom of it's starting to scratch up the gel coat in the boat. Someone made it out of like a roller skate type of wheel, and some steel here, which is starting to corrode and rust. So that's why I went and ordered a new system from Blue Water Yachts that, instead of being mounted in the cockpit, is going to be mounted on the outside of the boat. But we're going to have to fab up some brackets to basically reinforce the holding bracket for it, because it's going to sit nice and tall and hold the mast up a little higher to make it a little easier for navigating the cockpit when the mast is down, and also when raising it. So I'm going to make some backing plates, and I'm going to show you how this new system works. So here's our stainless steel mounting brackets, or plates, excuse me, stainless steel plates that I made. So these again are providing extra strength behind the glass here for our new mast support. Yeah, so they came out really good, nice and solid. Hey, here's an update. You're gonna get some shadows here, sorry. So I have our rudder back in, our rudder pole, just to test to make sure there's clearance, which there is just some clearance, which is good. I might, oh yeah, I got plenty in there. So these are a couple stainless steel plates that you saw me make. And these guys are just providing backing, because the fiberglass, I mean, it's heavy, but it's not like crazy thick. So I figured that'll help reinforce. And I yanked out our old, oh man, gotta clean all this up. This is where the old original bow support was. So that's out of here, and it was really tearing up the fiberglass and the gel coat. So we're gonna try to fix and clean all this up, get these guys out of here, patch some holes, but we're good. We are supported, and this guy is removable, or it can be left in while you sail as well. And it goes right down the center line of the boat, which is nice. So if I want to build a wood support up there, which I think I will at the bow point, it'll make it really easy to do that. And I get a little bit more headroom when the mast is down. So yeah, so we're looking good. I need to kind of finish up a little bit more cleanup work, and then we're going to be able to put in our transom support for our ladder, and we're getting our Lazarette rocking and rolling. All right, we're in the belly of the beast. So I'm down in the Lazarette. So what I'm doing right now is I'm sizing up our fuel tank compared to our drain line, compared to our through hole. So for the through hole, I think this, I got a couple circles drawn, you can barely see. I think it's gonna end up going right there. It's a lot, you can hear the knocking. So there's a lot of glass and stuff built up here. And I think that this would cause a conflict. I'd like to get as close to as I can, but I think maybe right about here will end up being the spot, so that it does seal correctly. And we want it as close to the center line of the boat as possible, so when the boat's heeling in different directions, it still operates correctly. And you know, if we are heeling, the reality is it's not that big of a deal. The only measurement that we're gonna really lose would just be the water speed, which isn't overly critical. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of make sure this was all gonna fit. It looks like it's gonna work out good. So now we gotta drill a 2-inch hole right through the bottom of our boat. That's a little daunting, but we're gonna do it. Okay, here's our hole. This guy's going right up in there, just like that. So the first thing we need to do is we have to remove the bottom paint around the edge. So the way we're gonna do that is we're just gonna build up some tape. Okay, so now we're just gonna draw nice and dark line. And there we go. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna come through and we're gonna very carefully use the razor blade . All right, so there we are. We're covered up to our thread line, probably more than we need. This will be just precautionary while I go on the inside. and attach the threads. All right, so this piece of wood, this is designed to be able to hold items like, for example, we can do line ties here. So we can put our extra lines, docking lines, maybe hang our fenders. This is also gonna work as a platform to be able to put the battery terminals for our outboard, because we're gonna need to extend those all the way forward to where our batteries are going. So this is designed for that as well. So we've got it all bolted down. I had resin coated this, so it's mostly watertight, but this is not an area that's gonna occasionally get wet, so should be good to go. So now that we have this guy wrapped up, we can install the outboard terminals. Also, I'm gonna run some kind of some wiring hooks to be able to run my wiring for various items. For example, the transducer wire is gonna go across here, outboard wires, and if we get an autopilot or tiller pilot in the future, it'll go across here as well. All right, so I'm gonna tackle our access hole. This was formerly a vent hole. I went ahead and gel coated the screw holes back in. We're gonna actually put a boot to be able to run the cabling through it. All right, so when I put this in, I am going to set it up to where the zip tie portion is accessible. So I'm gonna actually go ahead and start it through. Gonna kind of leave it like that, so I have plenty of room to tighten it down. So I'm gonna position it where it's like this, so it's accessible on the inside of the Lazarette. So we're gonna go just like this. We're now gonna take our little stainless steel screws. Gonna kind of get it started. And this will all kind of line up as you go. There we go, looking pretty clean. You could do this boot on the outside. I kind of like it on the inside just so it looks a little bit cleaner. Either way, it's going to seal. Any water that splashes in would run right back out because we're going to be tightening that zip tie around the fuel line and also around the power cables coming from the motor for our electric start and to charge our batteries. So this is looking good, and now we just got to run our cabling. So when we do our outboard install, we're good to go. I'm keeping this guy around for right now as just a temporary plug, meaning plugging this hole. I do plan on doing a autopilot or tiller pilot at some point. So this will be an ideal port to be able to go through and run power because it's pretty accessible. I could try to do it over here, but it'd be pretty difficult to get to. I still might do that, but for now, this is gonna work really well. So yeah, one step closer to having our Lazarette completely ready to go. Here's our backside of our boot with our accessible zip tie. So again, we can run our cables through, tighten this nice and tight, and that'll prevent any leaks. Now, over here on our new piece of wood that we installed on the backside, we are going to install right here. It's hard to see, but this is going to be our power distribution that's going to run between our outboard. It's also going to be between the outboard and running forward to the batteries. And the selector switch. This also can be a power source for our autopilot if we do end up adding one in the future. So we're just going to drill some holes and we're going to mount this guy right here so it's good to go. So to extra tidy up the Lazarette, I am installing these Barton line tamers. So I've already put 2 of these guys in. You can adjust the length of the cord just by tying off the knot on the back. These are probably a little long for my docking lines, but they'll work out good. So I have all this area here to hang lines, whoop, and back here. So I went ahead and just hung those lines there, because these are the only 2 lines I need to hang for sure right now. I'm going to end up hanging additional lines. I just don't know what they're going to be yet, so I'm not sure what position I'm going to put them in. So I'm going to hold on to these other 2, but I got these guys installed and we're good to go. Got my fenders sitting down here. I originally wanted to hang the fenders, but they're a little too long, so I need to come up with another solution for the fenders. I might make a little cradle that holds them down here, but I can kind of deal with that later. I do want to have room to drop a cooler down in here for when we go fishing. And then also be able to store other items back here as well without impeding the area for the fuel tank. But everything is really coming along. The Lazarette is almost wrapped up. I do need to kind of tighten up this wiring, which is the lighting, and then also zip tie and kind of clean up and run wiring here as well. So everything is all sorted and good to go. But Lazarette is almost done. All right, so that's pretty much where we need to be on our Lazarette. Everything is wrapped up and good to go. The next step, which we're hopefully gonna have in our next video, is to procure a motor. Because now that we have the fuel tank in there, we've got the transom ready to go, we're ready to procure a motor and get Time Out back on the water. So we'll cover that hopefully in the next video.
But as far as this video goes, thanks for watching and liking and subscribing, and we'll see you on the next one.